Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the 90. I'm Neil. We've just lost 3-0. I've got James and Ant with us as usual. And just hand over to you, James. So we've just lost 3-0 to Tottenham. What are your thoughts?
Um, I don't know what to say because I've just looked at the stats, and if you look at the stats alone, we had like 24 shots, 70% possession. You'd expect us to win 3 or 4 nil. So I think we've just lost by three sloppy goals, and again, we're just not finishing. So I think it's the same old story. Um, I just love to see us start finishing. I think that's probably what we need to buy in the window is someone that can actually finish.
Yeah, I agree. And what are your thoughts on the 3-0?
It was always going to be a difficult game with with the defence that we had, with the real lack of pace in that back three compared to what Spurs had. But at the end of the day, I don't think I know we lost 3-0, but it wasn't a 3-0 game, so to speak, because we created enough chances and stuff. We just didn't put the ball in the back of the net. And I'm not saying we deserve to get anything from the game, but I do think the scoreline flattened Tottenham slightly.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's at certain points, especially when the first goal went, I went, oh, here we go. Because it was kind of, I was going to expect what's going to happen. And then after that, Kane, they had a little bit of a stumble and stuff like that. And you're just like, right, this is not going to go well for us today. And I think you're right, against a side where you're coming up against Son and Kane, where they're good players, they're brilliant players, but our backline just could not keep up at all. And Kane, well, I think he had I wouldn't even say a decent. He just had a good game, but he just put his chances away, and that's the difference between where they are and where they are, but as in where they are as a club and finishing compared to us. Do you think in this match, James, that we missed somebody like a Maddison to really link up through the middle?
I think Perez was doing an amazing job today of doing that link-up work. He was creating chances in the first half. I just don't understand why he came off in the second half because he seems to be our creative player. Him and Tillemans were pulling the strings in that middle of the park. He was linking the ball up. Nacho came on, I thought he was going to score. But again, I think our last third decision making has been quite poor today. And I think that's probably what's cost us at the end of the day.
Yeah, I kind of agree, especially in the second half. The first half, we actually came into that game, even though 3-0 down, we came in with a positive spirit that we're going to go on and move forward and win the game. But it just didn't seem like it because Lloris had a couple of good saves. But in the second half, again, as you were saying, there wasn't really anybody after Perez and Tillemans came off. It just went flat. And literally, that's the only thing I've got on my notes after the second half. But so far, yeah, I think we have definitely defensive problems as well, and that really Tottenham properly capitalised on that, and I think that's what you were talking about earlier. And
Yeah, and do you see Mourinho's press conference after the game where he was saying that it was something that they looked at before the game was exploiting I think he used the phrase broken backline or broken defence and stuff. So he clearly saw the fact it was a weakness and they had a game plan and they executed it perfectly.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if you look at all three goals individually, the first one, Son's on the halfway line, destroyed us for pace. Second one, we got destroyed for pace. And the third one, Bennett's turned him, and the worst place you can put Harry Kane is onto his right foot.
That was a class finish, wasn't it?
yeah, it was really, really good. But that's the difference, I think, between that kind of management. When you play with somebody like Mourinho, you're going to get these performances in, even though they're not. No, they're not going to be happy as Tottenham fans with 30% possession, but you're going to get a 3-0 result. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And they're slowly climbing up the table. So it wasn't a bad performance, I thought, today, James, but it was just not a clinical one.
No, I think you're right. 90% pass rate. How many teams have a 90% pass rate and lose 3-0? So
I think,
yeah.
Sorry.
I think though you're saying 90% pass rate, but that was helped a lot by the fact that Tottenham just sat off us and allowed us to have the ball in front of them. So they didn't particularly press us at all. They were just happy for us to play the ball in front of them.
Was that because they knew we were going to make mistakes and they were going to hit us on the counter, though?
Probably.
You might be right. The only thing I will say is how many times has Mourinho gone in 3-0 at half time and then just stopped. stop then conceding. He's a master at that, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think something they did, though, that we kind of capitalised on but didn't quite execute. Even in the second half, we were winning a lot of balls in the middle of the pitch. The Lo Celso and I think Sissoko didn't really run that midfield and boss that midfield like I thought they would do. So we won a lot of balls with Ndidi, with Perez, with Tillemans. We really ran that midfield. But at the time we passed it on to somebody like Barnes, who didn't take his chances or didn't really make the right decision. And we just didn't seem to get them people on the ball.
I thought a lot of our success came down the left-hand side, though, instead of down the middle, because a lot of it was Thomas overlapping and putting decent balls into the box was really the main times that we looked dangerous.
Yeah, I kind of agree. What did you think of the service to Vardy today? Do you think it was lacking? Do you think there was something that we need to work on going forward? Because it seems like we're taking backward steps in that bit.
It was almost Spurs cut it out completely by sitting on the edge of their own box, so there was no room in behind for him. But that's when you sort of almost want Vardy to get involved a little bit more and drop deeper instead of trying to sort of run in behind when there's no room. So I think Spurs dealt with him just very well.
Do you agree, James, or was it
just
a good defensive performance?
I think I was expecting the Vardy we saw against Sheffield United, the one that would go deep, get the ball, and help the team a bit more. But today he was that kind of lone striker that we've seen the past 6 months, rather than the one that I thought would get in the same one that played against Sheffield United, helping us get the ball and helping Barnes as well. But I think you're right. I think their defence just dropped down a bit and just dealt with that. Every single ball that came to Vardy, they just dealt with it.
And that's something that we lacked today, I think, a lot as well. Vardy had a couple of headed chances, but apart from that, there wasn't really the service up to him. But the ball seems to be coming flying in, and there isn't really anybody in the midfield that can really get their head on it. I think we've complained about it before, but there's nobody that, when they whip a ball in, that can put it in the back of the net from their head.
This is what we were saying a while ago, that for Vardy, he needs a specific type of service, and when teams drop back, we need him to drop deeper to get involved in the game and stuff. And I don't want to say he's ineffective at doing that, but he's more comfortable waiting on the last shoulder of a defender than dropping deeper to help create chances.
Yeah, I agree. Something else that I've put down as well is that in the first half as well, specifically when we had loads of corners, Spurs were terrible at defending them. They at times when Lloris was coming out, or they were just ricocheting off players, or they weren't picking up certain people. I feel like that should have been a time that we should have capitalised on that, James.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think one thing I have noticed about the second half of our season is we're not very good at getting the second ball. So in the first half, when headers would come out, our midfield would pick that ball up, spread it wide, cross it back in. But now we seem to be missing that second ball. Now, I don't know if that's intensity in the midfield or the tempo. I'm not sure what it is. But we seem to miss that second ball. Yes, we haven't got anyone that can power a header in, but we should be picking up them second balls.
Yeah, but I think there's a couple of times where you're right, where it comes out and then they end up just playing it back to Schmeichel or back to defence, and then they just kind of kick it around and play possession, which I think could have worked today. But I think it just shows you the difference between Mourinho and Rodgers in how they structure a team, how they play, how they mark people out of certain positions. So, yeah, that's the big thing. How did you think that? How did you think that George Thomas did today, and on his second time out?
I thought he had a decent game, to be fair. He got forward well, and he sort of. It's a difficult one for him as well, playing in a team where the backline's so broken and stuff. But I think he did his job well. He created I would say one of the best chances of the game with the Vardy header for us. So I think he did well, and he's definitely sort of pushing to keep that first team space when Chilwell's back.
Yeah, I think so, and I think some of the crosses he was doing as well, James, today was something that we've not really seen before. It's quite like it's like a right angle. It's straight at a player rather than like a looping ball that Marco Brighton does.
I think you're right. Mark O'Brien, for me, just puts his head down and crosses the ball in. He doesn't seem to look up to see who's in there. Whereas Thomas, he looks before he passes, and his crosses are kind of the crosses that you'd probably want. Mark O'Brien's are kind of lofted up, floaty ones, where you can't really put much power into the headers. Whereas Thomas whips the ball in. So if you head it, it's going to be a bullet header, and if it's on target, it'll go in. So I think his crossing is outstanding today. I think same as Ant, he's had another great game. Yes, he's going to make mistakes. He's quite young. But I think, again, he was outstanding.
Yeah, and it looks like he's been part of the squad for a while just from this performance. Obviously, it's quite hard in this position against a team, Mourinho's Tottenham as well, very, very decent side, and he didn't look out of place at all, where certain players like Bennett really did, where you think as an experience, he would be the guy that's carried us through. Also, we saw that George Hurst came on about 20 minutes to the end. We didn't really see too much of him, but what are your thoughts on him and the fact that Brendan Rodgers is actually trying to give people like Hurst like a run out?
It's good that we saw him get his debut and stuff, and he got on the ball a couple of times and stuff, but it's hard to really have an opinion on him for 20 minutes of a game where we're 3-0 down and stuff. But from what you see of people saying about him, and I don't watch a huge amount of the under-23s, but he seems to be getting really high reviews and stuff. So hopefully he's going to have a bit of an impact over the next few seasons.
Yeah, let's see, because at times you're right, they were playing Nacho, Vardy and Hurst all up front. So they're all competing for position. So I think that was a bit too much at one time, but I think they were just throwing everything at it, really, from an attack perspective, just try and get something. But instead of addressing the issues, they were like, right, let's just stick everything on and let's see what happens.
I think the thing is, the issues weren't really what was going forward, it was what was behind them. And we had the best that we could have on the pitch in terms of the defence, but obviously with the injuries and stuff, it's not a great backline at the moment.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, James?
I think you're right. I think Hurst did well. Again, he was just thrown on. I know that he's been scoring quite a lot of goals within the 23, so I think he'll get his chance like he has done today. But I think he needs to be up there, maybe with Vardy, just the two of them, or with him and Nacho. He just needs that chance, I think. But again, the back line, corners, we mentioned we had loads of corners. We've got Morgan and Evans up there and Bennett back. And Morgan's just not got the pace anymore. So you know that if you've got a team that's fast on the counter, he's got no chance of getting back. And I think that's why we got exposed at the back.
Yeah, and I think at times if you watched the plays that Evans and Morgan were doing, they were just conceding fouls because they knew they just couldn't get back in time and get to a position where they can tackle a defender, like maybe, as I think Ant, you were saying off camera, that we really miss Soyuncu. So in this, yeah, that's it. So going forward from this, do you think we can take some positives going into the Man United game? Because they've just lost 3-1 to Chelsea. And they've obviously got a game in hand where they're playing West Ham. Do you think that's Europe done now? Or do you think that's Champions League finished for us? Or do you think there's still one more game in it?
I would say it's done for us. We've got no one else to blame but ourselves. We were in such a good position like 2-3 months ago. So like, I see a lot of people on Twitter feeling sorry for ourselves. We've only got ourselves to blame.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think, James?
So we were 14 points clear of fifth, and we should never be in this position for a start. And after the game, I was kind of deflated, going, all right, it's Europa. We're still in Europe. That's all that matters. But then I watched United, and I think we can do something with United. Goal difference depends what they do at West Ham. If they beat West Ham 1-0, then we've only got to beat them 1-0. And if it comes down to goal difference, if we're both level, then I think it's done on goals scored. So because of our 9-0, that might help us quite a lot. So I don't think it's done. I think it all depends what happens in that West Ham game. And let's not forget, Man United have gone to West Ham many a time and got beat.
Yeah, and West Ham seem to have turned a cheat. They scored 3 really good goals against Watford. Even though Watford were poor, there were still 3 really good, well-worked teams. And especially with David Moyes, he's got the experience with Man United, where a lot of them players have played under him. So he knows how to set up a team and he knows how they'll play. So for all intents and purposes, I think West Ham will be up for the game because there is a little bit of a rivalry down there as well between Man United and West Ham. Not a massive one, but them two teams know what each other do.
Yeah.
Is it at Old Trafford or is it in London?
No, it's at West Ham.
Hmm.
One
It really makes a difference at the moment behind closed doors.
No, one thing I wanted to add also is I think Liverpool might do us a favour against Chelsea. And I think it'll all come down to the last game. If Liverpool beat Chelsea on Wednesday night, then that last game is going to be absolutely massive. Obviously, keeping an eye on the Chelsea match as well. So we could finish third, fourth, or fifth going into that last game.
It seems like all to play for.
Me. Yeah, this is the first time for me. I've said right up until this point that I thought we were going to get top 4. But I just can't see us getting anything against United.
Well, could you see them getting anything against Chelsea today? And with that defence that's that poor, there's obviously had a massive impact on them.
No, but at the same time, when you look at Rashford, Martial, Pogba, Fernandes running up Morgan and Bennett, it doesn't look good on paper, does it?
I think if you look at both teams have got rubbish defences, let's be honest. But I think the difference is that United finish their chances. And I think that's the difference, is they get the chances, they've got good decision making, and they finish them, whereas we're getting the chances but just not finishing them.
Yeah, I agree. We need to be more clinical. It's where it's like the decision making of Harvey Barnes, where we'll take on too many players, get closed out, and then he did that 4 or 5 times today, where he didn't actually have a shot out, and he just wasn't sure what he was going to do. But you think in that instance where he could have squared it or played it across we've got that finisher in Vardy. Are you saying once a team like Man United, sort of like Tottenham, neutralise Vardy, it's then what's next? But surely the person next would be somebody like a Nacho.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say, I think you're right. I think there was one moment, I think it was in the last 10 minutes, when Barnes had beat 2, he's going down on goal, he's got Nacho running straight through the middle, through ball, Nacho's going to score. But he puts it on his left foot and tries to bend it around the defender, and it just goes nowhere. So I think it's that decision making. If he'd have put him through, guarantee he's going to score.
You were saying something else, Ant, or is it a similar thing?
I was saying that what you were saying about United and stuff, and Vardy, I think that game will suit him slightly more because United will sort of sit at the halfway line and try and press us a bit more than what Tottenham did. So there will be room in behind for him. So I don't see us not scoring, but it's just how many we ship at the other end.
And especially with the quick front line that they have, it's going to be a real interesting match for sure. But it all comes down to that. So we shouldn't have let it come to this place where we're leaving it this late. But it's the Leicester way, isn't it, to just mess things up for everybody and leave their hearts in their mouth. Anyway, I think that's everything. Have you guys got anything else to add?
No, the only thing I was going to say about United is that De Gea's been awful lately. I've seen lots of things on Twitter about loads of people calling him Poppadom wrist because he can't catch anything. So I don't know. I think you need to test the goalkeeper, and if you can get that defence, like Anne said, if you can get Vardy running at Maguire, then I think we've got a chance.
What you were saying about De Gea, watch him turn into Prime Yashin next week.
Just against us. So I think you're saying as well off camera, James, that you would consider playing Hamza Chowdhury at the defence to kind of negate their pace.
I think it depends on what team they play. Someone's going to have to stop Greenwood, and and then you've got to stop Pogba, Fernandes. I think Ndidi will probably, if we're going to win, then Ndidi's going to have an outstanding game. But I think we need pace in the back, so I'd probably like to see Chowdhury in the back 3, maybe instead of Bennett on that right side.
Do you think that James Justin could do a job there because of his pace? Because he's looked all right in the back 3.
I think so. He could do. He did all right second half, didn't he? Let's be honest.
The thing is, if you take Justin away from right wing back, then that means you've got Albrighton at right wing back, which is something I don't want to ever see.
Or you play Gray like he did today. But he doesn't create a lot from that position, but then you just rely on, you don't have that emphasis going forward. You've got the emphasis on it coming through the middle.
Yeah, and I don't think Gray or Albrighton particularly works as a wing back. For me, Albrighton, when we played there, he just got the ball and pumped it forward and hoped for the best. And then Gray, I thought, looked sort of in between, like lost whether he should be getting forward or whether he should be sitting back. He sort of looked confused whether he was a winger or a right back.
Because he's supposed to be both. But I think it's just the amount of injuries that we've got at the moment. So I don't know. It all comes down to it. So, man, with the heart's going to be in the mouth for the last game of the season. It should be a really interesting one. So for all Leicester things related, make sure you subscribe to the Beyond 90 channel. Click the like, and we'll see you all in the next video. So from me, James, and it's goodbye.